morning, Emily Miller.
Good morning, Kate Richburg.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
If it's Wednesday and we're on, it must be Facebook Live from beadshop.com. Yes, Redwood City, California.
In the hood.
Yes, hello, everybody. Hi, Gracie. Great. We've got Grace and Brandon behind the camera, and it's Kate and Emily in front of the camera. Janice will be popping on momentarily to do some moderating, so she'll be behind the computer screen. So we've got a busy Wednesday. We're really excited to share this project.
Lots of things to talk about.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah, but first, so we've gotten some emails and some of you guys have reached out to us. As you may or may not know, our company is based in Northern California, and right now we are going through a bit of a wildfire fire craze here.
It is fire season in California, where you all might have hurricane season or tornado season.
Yes,
we do have fire season.
So we just wanted to let everybody know that we're good. We're all good. All of our people are good. And all of our thoughts, we've got a lot of customers just north of us in Northern California, and wanted to give a quick shout out and a hello, and that everyone, you all are in our thoughts. So, but today,
we're going to
we're going to be creative. We're going to do our part by giving us a little respite and being creative today.
I really like the calmness that just stringing things brings to me.
Your kind of zen moment.
It is a bit of a zen time, It's not technique heavy. I really don't have to worry about a thread bath or anything. Yeah. But I'm paying attention to the beads I'm picking up and kind of enjoying them as I touch them. And,
it's kind of a restful, kind of relaxing.
It is.
And speaking of restful and relaxing, I wanted to also mention, you guys, this weekend is Janice's little bead together.
Not restful or relaxing.
Well,
it's
going to be super fun and energizing, right? So just a reminder, there is an event on our Facebook page, so you do need to reply to that if you're going. You can always email info@beadshop or Drea at beadshop.com, and they can, Drea will see that and will respond to you with some directions and stuff like that. So Janice and Drea are going to be there, and they'd love to see you this weekend.
Should we just fly out there?
Let's just do. Come on,
right?
I'm going to get
Friday night.
tickets right now.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Get on there and see how expensive
All right.
it would be.
Okay.
I think we should just
I'm
go.
going to book.
I'm kind of mad that they're going to have fun without us.
Let's use miles. Let's just do it. You never know, Janice. Saturday morning, we show up.
We'll just show up at the door.
It'll be awesome. No, I'm actually teaching.
I wanted to freak out.
Weekend, so, yeah, but you never know. Emily might come. How are we doing, Gracie?
We're doing well. We have a lot of flows.
Oh, great.
Cindy was saying that Softflex is closed because of fires.
Yeah. Softflex, they're taking a couple of days off there in Sonoma, as well as our...
And I think out on a whim is as well.
Yeah, and Tiara Cast, everybody is... But so far so good. Everybody's okay so far. So we'll just hope that the winds don't whip up and that we are all safe and sound.
And our firefighters are doing an amazing job out there.
Yeah, they sure are, for sure.
If any of your family members or friends or firefighters, please express our appreciation. Yeah, because I know it's really a hard, insanely tough job. Yeah.
I'm happy Deb is joining us for the first time on live. She watches us.
Yay,
excellent.
Deb! Look, we're hanging out right at the same time. That's awesome. Well, Emily, I received some pretty cool emails this weekend.
Really?
Yeah,
I got a couple myself
that I wanted to share with you. So. They're really great. So first, I wanted to show our one of our bead retreaters sent in their project, Kendra. Hello, Kendra. I hope you're doing okay. And she sent her bead retreat necklace. Pardon me, because I know she said that she knew that we'd want to see it, and indeed, we did, Kendra. And I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to enlarge this up a little bit here, and I'll turn this around so you guys can see it. This was a piece that Kendra did from our Color by Design bead retreat, which was really cool. And what Kendra did was she used a macrame technique for the back, which looks great. And it comes down into 3 strands, which looks like it's macrameed, and it's a really great it's a cool kind of sky harvest combination there, so I think it looks good.
I have to tell you that I actually already saw this piece. I got to see it in person.
Did you? Because Kendra came by and
Kendra dropped in on my other work, and I got to see it in person.
Cool.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So thanks, Kendra. And on this note, for the bead retreat, we are going to be sending out or releasing information about bead retreat for 2018. It's on, you guys, so it's going to be really fun. So we'll have more information about that. And then Brandon, I'm going to turn this around and let's take a look. I got one from Leslie, and I want to read the email just real quick. Here I have so many windows open. Let me close this window and get to the correct window here so I can read what Leslie said. Okay, so Leslie sent me 2 emails. She sent me one and earlier in the week. And she said, well, Kate, I took a leaf out of your book and went rogue, which was awesome. She's been hoarding some African beads for a while, and she was happy with everything that she strung, except the clasp area. And all of the end pieces in the clasp were connected with a jump ring. And she said, do you have any suggestions? And you know, Leslie, I was so super busy last week. I guess necessity was the mother of invention for you. Because I didn't give her any suggestions, but you solved it on your own. So what Leslie did, and then I'll show you guys the photo because it's really cool. She said, well, hello again. I decided to go back to the Free Tip Friday video and figure out where she went wrong with her clasp. And she said she'd use a toggle clasp instead of a button after putting all of her leather in. And so she said it had no air, in Janice's words. Mm-hmm. And she took it apart and she made a button closure. And she said it looks much better. So I'm going to show you guys kind of the before and after photo because I kind of loved the way this illustrated. So Leslie, this was the piece that Leslie sent. And Brandon, I'll get ready and turn this around for you here. So let me get this a little bit bigger. Let me actually, where's my bigger? Here, my embiggen, as we like to say. And what you guys can see, and we'll have Janice or Drea will also put this in our connections blog, but you can see here, this was her first one, and everything was kind of bunching all together with her toggle. But look at her bead choices. Were really, really great. I love them so much. They look fantastic. And then her second go round, Leslie, what you did, and I'm going to pull over her other one. You can see she used, instead of a toggle, she used her button loop. And can you guys see how that we have much more air around that closure, and it just looks, I think, a little, little, well, more airy. It has more movement.
It has more movement. It looks more.
Yeah, so it looks really nice.
Sometimes I look at things like that, and to me, it's the proportions. Like there is a lot of strands coming into that one toggle, and then it gets kind of scrawny at that point. And with the button and the leather, it sort of continues the size or the scale.
Yeah, it has some movement
across that.
To let me see if I can get these. Get these side by side here. But yeah, you can see there it was nice and tight, and then here it's much more loose. So it was really great. And the whole necklace, you can see if I scroll down, she used some of the leather and big hold tribal beads, some chain there, and then some other pieces with that Ashanti. Yes, Gracie, question.
Quick question. Angela's wondering, are those white ponies or padres? And shadows are beads, correct?
Shadows are beads. The shadows, yes. It looks like the scale might be. What was the question? Padres? Padres of Venice, maybe?
Ponies.
They might be ponies. Or Padres of Venice, maybe. They might be. But Leslie, if you're watching, let us know what they are. They're really cool. And then I have one last one that I want to show you guys, which I thought was really, really inspirational. was from our very own Gita. And Gita, you finished your
right angle weave.
your
bracelet.
right angle weave,
So
which
pretty.
really looks great. I had it pulled up, but I'm not sure what happened to it, Gita. Hang on one second. Let me grab it. I think it's here. I'm going to keep clicking. There it is. So Gita, what Gita sent was her right angle weave with these green beads, which I think looks really, really great.
Really rich.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So I just thought it was a good, kind of a good another colorway and color palette to use. So those all look great, and I'm going to forward all of those over to Drea so she can add them into our connections blog. If you haven't gone over to the beadshop.com blog, it's called the Bead Table, and Drea does a great write-up of people's things that they send in. So keep sending them in. There's going to be a few more in that connections blog coming up. So Drea does it every couple weeks or so, so you can see kind of fun things that people have sent in, which
It's
is
great to see what people make.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it is. And then we had another question. We had a question from Lindy.
Yeah, Lindy and I emailed a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought it was a really interesting, or you thought it was a really interesting tip for others because we've been talking about looming and stuff lately.
Yeah,
so
we've been talking.
What was Lindy's question?
Well, Lindy had a question about how she would join together two pieces of beadwork, loom beadwork specifically, that she had made and were off the loom and ready to be made into something else.
Right.
So I don't have a perfect sample for this, but you were right, Johnny, on the spot with one of yours. So that was really great. So this is
and you want to maybe hold
one of Kate's pieces. That's a loom woven piece.
Yeah.
That was going to be a section in a necklace or a bracelet.
Yeah, it was from Free Tip Friday when we
Oh,
were
I
doing
see.
that looming with the monthly mix.
Right.
That's what that was from.
And this was something you loomed on a box, or on a tray.
I may have actually used the jewel loom.
Okay.
But either
Yeah.
or. But the jewel loom, it's a shorter loom, so it's only a single
Right.
wrap.
Single
right?
wrap. So what Lindy's question was is if I've removed all these pieces, how could I attach one to the other? And really this is pretty simple. Using those warp threads, the threads of the long threads that are coming through, you could actually bring another piece up to this, butt it right up together, and then stitch across. So
right, so use those warp threads to go into the other piece, and the warp threads from the other one to go into this piece. To
a little bit like you were adding a new thread. That would be the easiest description for it. And from my experience, I would typically work with the outside threads and work my way in. That way I wouldn't torque or skew this beadwork either direction.
Right, because your kind of the tension is coming in from both sides going towards
Equally,
the center.
right.
Yeah. And so Lindy wanted to make a wrap bracelet.
Right.
Right. She wanted to connect
Right.
two pieces together to make two shorter pieces, as if you were working, let's say, like on the jewel loom. Right. The jewel loom is a
You have
smaller
sort of
loom.
limited length.
Limited length. Right.
So usually what I do if I'm going to make a wrap bracelet with loom is I make it long enough to wrap around twice, or however many times you want to go around.
And that would be something that you would use on the big, like our tray when you loom on the tray, or if you had a larger loom or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're only limited to, like, let's say a jewel loom or something smaller,
Make two pieces
you
and
could
join
make
them.
two pieces and join
Yeah.
them. Well, that's
Yeah.
great. Well, great question, Lindy.
Thanks, Lindy. I think that was something
for
that
that.
other people would come up with at some point too, and it's just nice to have it in the record now.
Yeah, that it's in there.
Yep.
That's great. Well, awesome. Well, I wanted to mention for you guys who watch us a little bit later on the replay, but like Deb, you're watching us live. I hope you're totally stoked and enjoying it. We're stoked to have you. But if you do watch this later, maybe you watch it on our YouTube channel, beadshop.com on YouTube. Maybe you watch it right on our website, also beadshop.com. Or if you watch it on our Facebook live feed just a little bit later, you can... I totally lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
What
You
was
can
I
watch
gonna
it.
say?
You can
Oh,
watch it later
but you
and
can't.
scroll back to this part.
Yes.
Because Janice will put in the episode notes
That's
about
right.
what we talked about.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Is that all
I
right?
was trying to make an emphatic point, and of course I lost it. But you can always, if you are watching and you want to get straight to the instruction
For today.
And usually every show, you can just kind of slide that bar in about 15 minutes, and that's when that instruction starts, because we get
we have to take a little time kind of
done, at the beginning,
talk
for
to
everybody,
people,
to
talk
jump
about the
on.
weather and
That's
whatever
right,
else.
and answer questions and stuff like that. So at about 15 minutes in of every episode is when kind of the meat of the project shows up. And Grace said that you guys had a question about my earrings. These were soft flex earrings.
Yes.
The soft flex earrings.
Yeah, love
project.
those.
I want to say from a few weeks back, but it could have been
6 weeks.
Who knows? But it's soft flex earring.
That's my favorite colorway.
It was mine too. You know, this morning as I was putting on my sweater and putting on my little pins, I was all in my head. I'm gonna grab those off of our earring board and wear those today, because I think this is my favorite colorway too.
Yeah,
it was
really
good.
great.
So
What do we call that one? I forgot.
I don't know. We'll find
Fiesta?
it. It could be.
Is it Fiesta?
But we had 3 really cool colorways. It was awesome.
I had to go back and check it out.
So we had a lot of fun with the project for today, the patterning with stones. And one of the things that we've done a little bit differently, and I'm going to pull up my computer, but you guys can see on our Facebook Live page, we have 2 buttons in the little box, one that says projects and one that says recipe. And if you click over, I don't know, Em, if you want to click over to that recipe page. So they're patterning with stones, and we go to recipe.
In the shop it box.
Yeah, in the shop it box.
There's
you
a
click
project
to the
or recipe.
So on the recipe page, let's go ahead and pull that. Let's pull your computer over. The recipe is kind of a fun way, I think, for you guys to start jumping in and creating your own color palettes. And we're going to do our color palette actually right now following this recipe. So some of our projects we do have recipes on. The one that comes to mind is poetry. We have our regular poetry and eclectic poetry recipes, where it just clicks you right over to the category, and you go ahead and you pick out your own colors. So we did that here with this recipe, and you can see it's just the patterning with stones, and it just gives you this whole box here, or this whole list right here that you can shop right from. So I printed out the list, and let's start off by and really we have done no pre-planning on this, right? Which is always exciting.
It is. It's a little on the tightrope, but that's fine.
But you know, that's what we like. We
fine.
like that part.
Yep.
So you guys know that we are going to be using soft flex. So that's the first thing on our recipe list. So we've got our soft flex here. And again, you can use any color. We grabbed this, the original soft flex, the matte, what they call the satin silver color, I think. And so we put that there. And then our recipe calls for a tube of 11/0 seed beads, 3 strands of semi-precious rounds in 4, 6, and/or 8 millimeter, 1 or 2 strands of semi-precious shapes, that could be coins, or 5 to 8 millimeter rondelles, a strand of freshwater pearls that's optional. We used it in this one, the Au Naturel, and a package of 10 millimeter stone rounds. Okay, so Emily, you brought some.
I pulled some seed beads. So I didn't really think about these very much today, but I was trying to pick something from a palette that we had not yet explored a little bit, which I failed at fairly miserably. But there's a few here. There's a few here that we haven't really worked with before. You know, with this design that we're doing, I think one of the things that I like about the seed beads, sort of in the spacing position in between the other beads, is that the seed beads are sort of plain. They only have kind of one color, so I didn't actually pick anything that was silver lined or too sparkly.
Yeah, and so you can see this is the matte metallic that's in this, and we'll talk about these specific colorways in a second.
But I realized that you know we had already done something with green, and here's another green. We hadn't really picked anything sort of a silvery gray, which I thought was kind of pretty, but that's a little bit close to the painted desert, as is the banana, which I kind of love, actually. And all of these galvanized metallics really have a lot of pop and a lot of shine.
Joy.
This might actually be a tough one to work with, only because it is such a bright blue.
Right, it might pull the focus.
It might just a little bit, but on the other hand, it might make something that's really brilliant and really nice, because we do have some really good blues these days.
So let's pick, I don't know, somebody want to shout out or type out, which color should we use? What do you guys think?
I just want to say really quick that it doesn't appear so galvanized on the screen.
Oh,
so the bright blue is actually shiny. It doesn't look very shiny.
This blue
brilliant.
Here is pretty bright and pretty brilliant. I could pull it out in a triangle here. I think.
So is anybody shouting out a color so far?
We'll see. Oh, Karen says blue. Debbie says pink.
All right.
Ginger is always saying purple. She loves
All
purple.
right. Well, you know what, Emily? Let's see what we can do with this blue.
All right.
Since
I think that blue's a really great challenge.
All right. So let's do it.
So this is going to be a tough one.
So now we need, Emily, 3 strands of semi-precious rounds in 4, 6, and or 8.
I'm going to hop that.
So we do have some MI2. Whoops, is that MI2?
Oh, everyone's saying blue, so you
blue?
picked the right
All
color.
right,
Great.
good one. So you pick. You pick one, I'll pick one. What is Ginger saying?
She's saying purple again. We
Oh,
gotta find a way.
Ginger.
Sorry, Ginger.
Let's just, I don't know. We need, what size did you?
I got 6. You need an 8 maybe?
I need an
8-ish. How about the matte black in the 8, and then switch out the 4 for something else?
8. Okay, matte black in the 8.
Right?
Switch
Ooh,
out the
that's really
4.
dramatic.
Drama. I don't
And
know.
pick pulling something in the really big beads. Maybe these guys are going to work.
I don't know. Is this color, let's see. How about that, you know what, you got that in there.
Yeah.
We need something that really pops it, right? Or maybe, I don't know.
What about labradorite?
Or labradorite, let me do that.
That's
All right.
or even one of those dark.
Oh yeah, all right.
Shades
Can we
of blue.
see?
Yeah.
Shades of blue. Where's shades of blue? Is it all the way over here? Let me grab it.
Oh, and you know what? Down
like
here, we've got these cubes.
Oh, it's true, but we don't have.
Very many.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
put it
sorry.
back.
Sorry.
Can you show us what you're making really quick?
Which one?
Some of just what the project is.
Yeah. So our project that we've got going on, it's the long, and we'll talk a little bit more about the lengths and stuff, but you can see it's the seed bead, that's that
Zoom in
blue.
on your hand.
And then we've got a whole bunch of the different stones. What we do need, Emily, is a shape like a rondelle. Maybe, I don't know. How about that aventurine one? Or do we have something like over there?
I like these a lot,
Okay,
actually.
let's do it.
And I did like these coins. They could maybe be either one of those.
Yeah. So let's take a look at our color palette, shall we? Get a little tighter in.
We either need to move down or you need to pull it back towards you.
Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know if... Can you see this okay, Brianna? Is this
Not
in the
at
right
all.
place?
I
So
need
tell
to
me where to go.
Pull it way towards you.
Okay.
Should we just move the camera or?
Yeah, we can move the camera
Are you
now.
ready to do that?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
So you guys can see it.
I wanted those in there just because I feel like it's going that direction.
Well, we've got...
I know. We've got too many. It's okay.
What about this? What do we have that looks like this?
What about those matte
Yeah, the
ones
new
down
one.
there?
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
I
We
don't
don't
know.
have a big. We don't
Yeah.
have an 8mm yet,
Yeah.
I don't think.
We've got this 8.
Oh, okay.
But I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got this.
Size or what?
Yeah.
No, I'll just grab y'all's.
I like all of that.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's a group thing. It's a group
All right.
project.
Perfect. How's this, Bran? We good?
I
Can you
think
see
we're
this
good.
okay?
Yeah.
So, you guys, we just pulled this,
Oh,
like,
question.
right? Yeah, question. Yeah.
Angela's asking if you can chat about planning length that also can work for doubling or tripling as a bracelet.
Yes, we're going to get that to you, Angela, in just a sec. That's next on my agenda. So, let's take a look at this blue. This was this blue. What number was this? This was 114217. The galvanized, it was galvanized something. I don't
Yeah.
know. We can look it up. But it's 4217 in the 11-aught. And then, according to our recipe, we've got So that's the tube of seed beads. We've got 3 strands of semi-precious. So we've got some 4 millimeters that we can choose.
Galvanized
sea foam. We've got some, these are more 4 millimeters. We've got some 6 millimeters here. And we've got some 8 millimeters here. We've got a little bit of shape. Here's another 4 mil. And we've got a 10 millimeter. Okay.
Can I interject what
Yes.
some people are commenting on?
Yeah.
Some people are saying a pop of red might be nice, and others are saying that they like how the blue in the galvanized seafoam is kind of lessened with the other blues.
With the other ones, yeah. No,
Mhm.
I agree. Let's see, a pop of red or this red, or I don't know.
And
Let's make Ginger happy and throw in a purple.
this is the 8 millimeter blue lapis.
This guy, it's the 8 millimeter blue matte lapis.
Mhm.
So let's take a leaf from Ginger's book. Since everybody said blue and she said purple, let's get rid of that blue. That's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? So that's a 6, that's a 4. I like the lighter. Let's see if we got rid of those.
Somebody's saying cranberry. Actually, a few people are saying cranberry.
Cranberry?
Or raspberry. Or orange. I don't know. Everyone's having an opinion.
Well, I love it. I love opinions. Let's look at, like, we've got this and we've got these shapes. Maybe, instead of this color, that's a little more raspberry.
I'll see one and raise you a different one.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
To bring a little,
Well, we
another
could get rid of,
texture?
if that's 8, we could get rid of this 8.
right, bring this guy back.
Yeah, and bring that guy back in. And then that's not too bad.
I feel like these are a bit light now.
Yeah. Well, grab another shape.
Now, this might speak a little bit to that purples and pinks.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Bam. I like that. And if we read through our recipe. Oh, get a
Pearl?
freshwater pearl.
Okay.
Because it's so we've got a seed bead. We've got 3 strands of semi-precious. 1, 2, 3, a 4, a 6, and an 8. We've got 1 to 2 strands. We've just got 1 strand here of a semi-precious. I can also get, I don't know, this might be completely wrong, but this, I don't know. I'm going to say no. Oh, look at that pearl.
So I brought pretty much all of them, except for the white rice, I think.
These are
Because-
great. Look at them. I love that.
Yeah.
That iris
Yeah.
pearl. Isn't it great?
Yep.
And I think if
Because
we
there's a
put
little bit
these,
of that
yeah,
sort of teal in there.
yeah. And if we just kind of look at this guy and we put all that together, I think that looks fantastic.
Mhm. So you know what
Really
I
nice.
really like walking through people through palletting because it's amazing what we can talk about it all day long, but it's amazing when you start putting the colors side by side with one another. And I was so excited to see you and Janice do that with screenshots. So if you're at home and you want to be able to kind of collect these, you can take a screenshot of just the picture on the
Yeah.
website and pull it into a little grouping.
Right. And so you can kind of see your palette that way.
Right, so you're just following the recipe, which is giving you a guideline for sizes and shapes. Oh yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Perfect. Here, give me those.
Give me those beads.
Give me those bits.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah. Ginger.
Ginger, you were right.
You were right, Ginger, all along.
But we pulled that blue, but I like how this purple kind of builds the bridge between.
Slip those
like
earrings
this
off
guy.
for just a second.
Oh, right.
Put that in there.
Because
Totally.
I pretty much have that one on the brain. Nicely done.
Hurrah, hurrah.
Touche. But you know, now you can also kind of play around with, you know, like the different. Let's see what happens if we put that seed bead in, right? You could lighten it up a lot with the different seed bead. So we could go here, right? It's kind of
Pass me those
interesting.
matte silver gray
There's
ones.
matte silver gray. Let's look at that.
I might just do all those triangles. Just
What happened to all of your?
Talk about which beads
No,
you're
it's
using.
Yeah,
first?
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
And we'll go through you guys, and let you know what all of the beads are from this in just a second.
yeah, this delicate pink
Mm-hmm.
is really very pretty.
That's also really pretty too.
Mhm.
But it really says, like if we pull this, yeah, that delicate pink, I think looks really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could also go with this kind of tanny, silvery matte. I think works really well.
It's got a little bit of a tan to it. I didn't realize it.
Yeah. And there's our original blue, which I still love.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm just thinking. Is that better with that one?
No, I liked the darker
You
one
like
better.
the dark?
Mm.
All right. But it's great. So this particular palette that we've got here, I just want to let you guys know what these are. This guy here, it's our 4mm, what we call our second wind, but it's the 4mm labradorite. This one is the 6mm matte, it's matte sodalite. This guy is the pink crazy lace agate in the 8mm. This is 10mm amethyst, or what we call it on the website, it's myth, this guy. This one is one of our new, a lot of these are our new ones.
So good one.
But it's really great.
Yeah.
It's the matte porcelain jasper coin, which is this one. And this one is our freshwater pearl, we'll have to look that one up.
I
If you
think
can
it's
look
the,
it up.
hold on.
While Emily's looking that one up, I'll tell you the 3 seed bead colors that are here, here, and here.
We have a few questions on if you can use more than one seed bead color. This is just a recipe. That
Sure, yeah, and this was a recipe, and we'll take a look at Emily's piece.
This is the 5mm blue iris potato.
The 5mm blue iris potato, perfect. And then these seed bead colors, this guy was the 11-aught 217, you said it was the Duracoat Seafoam.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, what's this one?
I think that's
This is the 215. This pink. We'll look that up and get that number for you.
Blush
it's the
line.
blush lined.
crystal.
And then this guy
think
was
that's,
2091. And
Might
this
be
one
the
is
matte metallic tarnished silver.
matte metallic tarnished silver. So there you have it. So that's this little palette that we pulled.
There's kind of a lot of interjecting going
Yeah,
on.
I
Sure.
love
But
interjecting.
A lot of people are saying throw in a shadow. Just saying.
Oh,
Oh, no.
right. Well, I think, and you know what? That's the beautiful thing about recipes are that you can deviate
Yeah.
from the recipe. So but this is what we came up with using exactly the recipe that was up on the website for this piece. Now, we had a question about, Emily, about the seed beads. And
Right.
you can see, so here's Emily's piece that she did with the seed beads. And I, like some of you guys who are watching this, I'm like, I want to throw everything in there. I want to throw a bugle. I want to throw, and you may have seen in the piece, in the thumbnail for this guy, there's a bugle bead in there, and Emily's all, no bugles. I'm going to put a bugle. But I want you to talk a little bit about why you only chose one color for this.
You know, in a funny way, I think of it sort of like the background or the stringing material or the negative space in between the beads. And it is the rhythm to this piece where all the other beads are variable. I know that all of these beads have something in common. They all blend together in a we call this au naturel because it seemed like a very nature balanced
nature-like
colors.
palette, yeah.
But that little space in between, in the art world, we call negative space, which sounds very like you know what you're talking about.
It does. Makes
right?
you sound fancy pants.
Makes you sound fancy pants. So having that little bit of repeat means that everything in the middle, that rhythm is the same until I get to this piece. If you want to think of it as music, it's the beats of the back beat of the song that you're singing or the harmony. So having that little plain same every time to me gives it a background or a little bit of a base.
Right, like a table covering or something that unifies it all together.
Yes, exactly.
These are size 11
They are 11/aughts.
Yep.
That's correct. But you could use, I mean, if you didn't want to use an 11/aught, you could use an 8/aught. You could even use a 6. A 6 might be a little big, but I think an 8 would work.
And I think making this a long one strander means that it can be doubled, so you can wear it doubled. And I think you guys saw me with last week with my pearl one on. Same sort of idea, same design. I love having things that are flexible to wear a couple of ways. You made it into a bracelet the first minute that we had it together here.
And we'll talk a little bit about because we've got some specific guidelines for your lengths, but it really does give you, I think, it's just kind of like a beading highway. You just kind of bead along. So you can see I've laid out here on this side too. This is our painted desert colorway, the other one we listed on the project page for this piece. And I love, and this is the one we're actually going to string up today, I love this chocolate, this dark chocolate seed bead. It's 409F. I think it's matte chocolate, isn't it?
Matte dark chocolate.
Matte dark chocolate. And I think you guys are really going to see how well this works as a background. But again, if you decide, you know what, I don't love that one, make your own substitution. Like, I think this also looks fantastic
really
with
great.
it. Looks really good with it.
And you know, I have a rule of thumb that if you're in doubt, when in doubt, use a metallic, which is
That also works.
it's just a personal thing that I found that works for me in my eye. You know, I know that when I first started beading, I was stringing and I was making long strands of necklaces and kind of on the idea of love
Yeah,
beads.
me too. Yeah, I
And
just wanted to
I just
wear
wanted
beads.
to wear beads.
Yeah.
And I've learned all these mini jewelry techniques over all these past 20 something years, and I'm coming back around to kind of where I started.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, you know, that this is not the most technologically advanced
challenging,
or
right,
challenging,
yeah.
but it is a little challenging to make it look great and
to create that rhythm with these
and
beads.
have that confidence to kind of go on with that. And that's something I'd like the folks that watch us every day to have too, is that no matter what color palette you pick out, if you like it and it appeals to your eye and you find it balanced, then it's correct. It works.
Then it works.
I'd love you to feel that confidence that we feel picking things out, and I'd love to have you feel the confidence in making things too.
Yeah.
And that just takes practicing. The difference between your necklaces and my necklaces or Kate's is that we've made 1,000 or 2.
Yeah.
That's all the difference.
And I think the fun part of it is that these, you guys, again, these are only beads, so they're easily cut upable.
Yeah, and restringable.
And restringable.
Sure.
So, you know, it's not like you're, you know, like I always say, if you're cutting out a dress, then you have to make quilt squares out of that dress if that dress doesn't fit. Or if the quilt squares aren't right, then you make smaller quilt squares.
Yeah, then you Cinderella it around,
right?
right?
you slash and burn. But so what we're going to do next is I want to talk about length, because I think this is, and I'm going to slide this over because we're going to be using this palette in a minute. But we'll go ahead. Janice will put this palette also in our episode notes as well, so you guys can get that.
That's really yummy. I
Get
think.
that kind of interesting palette. But you guys may remember this from a ways, a few episodes back, when Janice and I did Softflex 101. And we had, if you go to Softflex 101, the Facebook Live page for that, you'll see these sketch necklace sheets that you can download. These were the ones that Janice drew for me and for her when we were doing I think it's the lake frog and what is this? Shadow Love, I think.
This was the one with the,
was the other one with the butterflies.
Yeah, I really like that.
Those were two really fun pieces to make. And so she also talked about the correct lengths, and at the bead retreat we just had, Janice measured everybody to get everybody their correct lengths for their pieces. And it really, you think, oh, measuring's measuring, but I'll tell you, it
was eye-opening.
Such a huge difference. And my mom remarked she made this beautiful necklace that looked great, and I make a lot of my mom's necklaces for her, right? Because I know how to string a couple of things, and but she made one for herself, and she made it the length that Janice had told her to make it, and it made such a huge difference. Her necklaces were about 3 or 4 inches too long, and she made it a little shorter, and it looked like $1 million. So we did a Facebook Live broadcast, I think, Janice and I did, on measuring lengths as well, so you can watch that, and maybe we'll do it again, because it was really a fun way to kind of take a look at what your perfect length is for you. But for this piece, now Emily, you made this one that you did. This is 60 inches?
62, I think.
62?
Yeah.
Okay. So this piece is a piece that has no clasp, right?
Correct.
It's what we call an endless necklace or an infinity necklace. And you can see it comes together right here under a crimp tube, and it just closes up. For a necklace, for me, like if I were gonna, if I wanted something that had 2 of my lengths, let's say that I wanted a necklace, I wanted to wrap this, and it would be 20, I wanted one to come in at about 20 and one to come in at about 22, then my total length for this piece would be about 42 inches. And that still doubles over my head twice.
Right.
But the 60-inch length is also great for layering, if you wanted to layer it with your other pieces too. Right?
Well, strangely enough, I copied another existing necklace for the length on this, and when I went back to look at the necklace length Janice gave me, one of the necklace length was 36.
Yeah.
Or 36 and 32. So if I do this in half, it basically becomes my 32
your
inch
32-inch length. Isn't that funny?
So I thought that was really surprising.
Yeah.
And I just finished a crochet necklace this weekend, and it actually came out also
32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just by happenstance.
Isn't
I
that
didn't
funny?
measure it as I
Isn't
went.
that funny? So when you're measuring, and especially if you're measuring for a long piece like this, you can kind of add 2 of your preferred lengths together
Sure.
to get your long one. But you were saying, Emily, it needs to be a minimum of a certain length to get over your head.
Yes. The human head typically is from 21 to 24 inches around. And it weighs 8 to 10 pounds.
Who knew?
You're carrying a bowling ball around on your shoulders.
Who knew?
When you sit around and text with your head hanging down over your phone, you have a bowling ball hanging off your head, your body.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's a lot of weight. So I've found over the years that if you really kind of aim for a minimum of about 27 inches, pretty much fits over everybody's head and goes around their ears and their glasses, so that it's not a tight thing to put on over their head without a clasp. But
and then if you were going to double it over, like I was saying, I would do mine at about 42 to 44 maybe. For a
and
little
you
bit
can
of
also
adjustment.
knot this style of necklace, have it hanging down once with a decorative knot. I mean, you can think of this as a scarf if you want,
Right.
because it really has that ability to have a little knot of beads kind of hanging from
Right,
it
at
to
the
make
bottom.
its own little pendant. Or it could be, I suppose, on a even smaller person, you might be able to get around 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a really cool piece. So, questions so far, Gracie?
No.
About length?
No.
Okay, we're good. So, let's move into the actual stringing. I love these that Janice drew. I just love
do
them.
too. I
keep
love
them
them.
by my desk because I have some Janice originals. I love them.
So that was back in I found it here a second ago. Hold on. May of this year.
May of this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Softflex 101 Part 2.
Yes, Softflex 101. We did it in 2 parts.
Yep.
So you can find that on our Facebook Live page. So let's take a look at the actual stringing. Now, Emily, we've laid out.
Yeah.
Let's bring that to the fore. This is a board that Janice also really loves using. And, you know, when I do long pieces like this, I have a tendency to make just a pile of beads in my design tray.
I'm a super.
Yeah, and what we like to call the bead soup, right? And we just kind of string, right? String how things move us. But I also really like the way that Janice does this. She uses this ultimate design board. And, pardon me, what I like about the ultimate design board is these triangles. Look at how perfect your triangles fit in there.
They do. And you told me that, and I ran
I said,
off.
Emily, get those triangles.
Get those triangles. I went right to Grace's desk, and I got a bunch of triangles. And you're right, they do fit in there really
They fit
nice.
in there perfectly.
Yeah.
And so, for those of you who, when random strikes fear into your heart, right? You're like, no random for me, thanks very much.
Random.
This, I think, will help you maybe not look at how I'm pouring these in and getting them all over the place. Poor form. This will help you maybe be like a little bit of a hand holding, so you're not, you know, so alone out in the woods.
You know, this was
with a
strung
random
completely
bunch of beads.
randomly, and all I did was I would look at the previous 2 or 3 beads that I had strung,
Yeah.
and make sure that that next one was something else,
Right, something
different.
a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to use this soft flex. We're going to use the fine, right? The .014.
Correct.
The fine. And we've cut some. And how much have you cut here, Em?
I didn't measure it, Kate. I just took a piece.
Well, let's pretend that we know how much we've measured. There's the tape measure. See, we really do, you guys, fly by the seat of our pants. That's how it is. That's how it goes.
This is just about 60 inches.
But just about 60. Okay.
Yep.
So we're gonna come in. We're gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna take one end. You're gonna take one end. Now, talk a little bit about how you lined this stuff up here. And I'm gonna just start stringing while you're talking.
I did actually start making a bit of a pattern. But the only thing about that pattern is that there really isn't one. But I laid out some courses, so some repeats. And I use this just randomly, the labradorite bead, kind of as my end of a course, right? So I have a grouping laid out, and then I could repeat that with a different grouping. And this would give me the ability to look at 6 beads ahead. I would know that I would want to have something in a different range. And one of the nice things about some of these stone beads is that each one is quite a bit different from one another. So it's easy to have a little more variation on a theme than you would normally.
Now, in this necklace, the finished necklace here, do you ever put the same bead next to each other?
I try not to.
Okay.
But I might.
I'm trying to see.
I'm trying to see if I did. Oh, yeah, here's 2 rondelles side by side. But they're also quite a bit different.
Yeah, in color.
Yeah.
And so you also chose 5, I think I can see that correctly, 5 seed beads in between. Any particular reason?
It's my lucky number.
You like 5s?
I do.
So you could, though, if you wanted to spread
could
your
go
beads
longer
out,
for sure.
Yeah. But you probably, to make this particular necklace, you would want to keep that consistency in between.
Yeah, I probably would pick an odd number. I've always sort of felt that that has a little bit more balance to it. And that kind of is one of those flower arranging
Right,
design kind of truisms that an odd number of things tends to look a little bit better. Looks a little more balanced. It could be that you have 1 in the middle and then 2 on either side. That makes an odd number. You know, we have 5 fingers on our hands, odd number there. So it really isn't planned. It could have been 7, could have been 10, could have been 9.
Just depends on, and also you could ramp up the sizes of these beads. So with the recipe, what we tried to do is give you a variety of sizes and shapes that you would use. But if you want to make this all in a larger scale, I'm reminded of, I can't remember, it may have been Joanne's necklace at the retreat. See, I'm going off on my own. I'm like, let me pull one from over there, but no, I'm going to grab yours from here. Joanne did kind of a cool single strand with dyed wooden beads, and it really, the scale was much larger. It really looked fantastic. So just depending, on what really works for you, just kind of go for it. But the thing about these brown seed beads that I like so much is that it does create a cohesive unit in between.
The background.
In between, yeah. So it's almost like it's a bead on its own. It's really good. Any questions or comments so far, Grace?
No.
We're doing all right?
A lot of side conversation.
Oh.
Earlier when you asked, they were talking about Janice's thing this weekend. So.
Oh, great. Well, that's going to be super fun, I think.
I'm going to pull some brown beads over here and make a little volcano.
Okay. Just asked if there were any questions, and then Suzanne asked, how many seed beads are you putting in between?
We're doing 5.
5 in between.
And Angela said 3, 5, and 7 is are her numbers, and somebody else mentioned that when you use an odd number of beads, it makes it look even.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Agreed.
That's right.
Oh, and Kim is asking. See, you asked if anyone had any questions.
Yeah,
Not
see?
everyone's asking questions.
Good.
Kim is asking, did you get a final picture of everyone's creations at the retreat?
I do have some. We should put that up. I have a lot of things also in a lot of progress. So if retreat participants, if you're watching today or later, and if you have a snap, just snap it with your phone and send it in so we can share more of them. It was a creative explosion. It was
we
really
had a great time.
They are curious. Emily, Lynn is asking if you use matte metallic seed beads in your necklace.
Yeah, it's matte metallic. It was
no, this one?
Yeah.
This is 457.
457.
Bronze. Dark bronze.
Oh, dark bronze. Got it. But you could use matte metallic. That would work.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Nice.
I do tend to keep these background beads to being more of one color than a silver line with a lot of sparkle. But I could see doing the silver line too in certain cases. I guess in my work with patterning or working with stone, typically we're not looking at things that are too glitzy glammy. Stone can definitely be pretty sparkly, but in this case I'm gonna do something that's a little bit on the more subdued natural colors. Oh, it's really coming along, huh?
So I think it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I think one of the things also when I am stringing randomly, and this, I'll be honest, is really hard for me to string just one seed bead in the background. It's kind of making me like a little crazy because I want to add something real bad to this.
What do you want to add?
I don't know. I mean, you guys know what I want to add, right? I would add a shadow in there. I'd add some hishi on either side of these guys.
You know what I would really like to add to this, and this just came out of my head as I was looking at these 10 millimeter round beads. I would like to add a bead cap to either side.
Yeah, bead caps would be really nice.
These 10 millimeter rounds are really pretty, but I think I would want to feature them a little bit more. I'd like to give them a little bit more, hey there, you're a little more special.
Right, make them show up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a couple of things, Em.
What are you grabbing?
I'm going to show you. Just keep stringing.
Sorry?
The new hematite is really lovely too. Would be really
Oh yeah, the new hematite shadow style.
Yeah.
And we also get some new metals to the temple bead, which is sort of a hishi shape with a little bit of texture around it, like a kind of a Saturn, a squatty Saturn, would look really good, I think. The throwing some metal in here, I'm all about putting metal together.
I don't know why when I first saw it, I just thought that new hematite would.
Absolutely.
That's what you were using.
Oh no, well, and I fought hard to get this bronze bead in here because I really like it. And when I made this sample the other day, I was like, oh, I almost want this for myself. What you looking for,
Oh,
Katie?
I think I found it. I was looking for. Oh, we might have taken it apart. The sample that we did. I want to show this.
Oh.
With the.
I just
difference
all I
in the
did was
people.
put the beads away.
That's okay.
Okay. So I would usually not pick out my beads in this fashion. I would make a soup and just kind of not close my eyes, but I wouldn't look so much at what I was doing. And it's interesting that this is where I think I started, and you started down there. You know, how we managed to not string 10 seed beads right there was a miracle, but we managed it.
we managed it.
Yay!
So this
You were
is.
too?
I was keeping an eye out.
I was like waiting for that to happen.
Do you have? May I have a little triangle, Em? So I grabbed. This was kind of our leftovers from what we had from stringing.
Oh yeah. So making this long necklace took a little more than half a tube of seed beads, and then that was the leftovers from it, from all the strands,
leftovers, yeah.
which not very much. We used quite a bit.
Yeah, and I wanted to show. Where is the seed bead? Here it is.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to show the soup part of this. And I wanted to show how I would, I had grabbed a few of these bugles, and I know you guys may have seen them in the photo for this, but I just wanted to, you keep on stringing there, Em, and I'm going to get a fresh
Wait, I've got
piece
some
here.
string for you here.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Great.
I know you guys couldn't see this because it was off screen, but I was shaking my head at those bugles.
Right.
So one of the things I think about this necklace is that I want it to be really flexible. I want it to have lots of movement and be very ropey, something that you can play with while you're wearing it, and it has lots of texture and hand appeal to it. And I feel like the bugles are going to make it very stiff.
Right.
But you proved me wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I did like a. I just want to show you guys what adding that little bugle, because I didn't want you to get confused by the photo. And it's like, why aren't you guys using those bugles? I also think it adds a little bit of negative space to the piece as well. So I'm just going to come in, I'm not even paying attention to the beads that I'm putting on here, but I am paying attention to the metallics. Emily has that her little volcano over there that she's rapidly putting her seed beads on with. I kind of like to touch my seed beads. But
yeah, I know. You're weird.
I like it. I like to roll them around, find the little hole.
So you know what this makes me think about is maybe we need to do a challenge.
Oh God.
Oh God. No, I'm just talking about us here at the office.
Oh, okay. Well, even so.
Even so, oh God. I think it's interesting if you give a group of people, a number of individuals, beg your pardon, a number of individuals the same beads, and you say, go off and make something.
Right.
What they come up with. And I think it'd be interesting to see if we do it here as a group or...
it'd be fun to put together a design challenge kit, though, to see what people make.
Yeah, because, you know, I know that the Bead Society here in our area does one for the fair every year. And they use it as a little money raiser. So they sell a small kit of beads that they put together, and you have to use 80% of the beads in your design. And that's another way of going.
Oh, I think it would be fun. Let's put that idea down, because I like it. Fran, can you see these okay? Am I blocking at all?
That's pretty good.
Okay. So you can see, I just wanted to show you guys the difference here when I added that that bugle, how I would, how it does add, it really makes things look, I think, a little different, because the space in between is a lot longer. This also speaks to Janice's her color study. Is it color study? Her piece where she talks about patterning and the way she explains working with different patterns. So if you don't have that handout downloaded, I would go ahead and take a look at it, because it's really, I think, just patterning. Even with just a few simple beads, it gives you, helps you look at them with a little bit of a different eye, you know. I'm going to reverse this out, and let's take a look at, I also really love the way that these bugles look with just a single seed bead between them. This guy. That design challenge idea is growing on me, Emily, as I think about it. Are they? Would you guys be into that? Might be fun. Might be something fun for 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And the bugles you're using, Kate, what are they?
These are the green, I'm going to have to look them up real quick.
Green
Let's
matte
see.
metallic.
Yeah,
I got
green
it.
matte.
I'll
You
get
got
it
it.
for
You got it.
Speaking of challenge, let's see if it's Kim. No, Melanie was asking about the tiara challenge.
Yes.
She's saying, is it okay that her tiara is not Halloween themed?
Yeah, your tiara can be any theme you want. You do you with your challenge. I was just looking, Gracie, you've gotten a couple.
Yeah.
We looked at one today, right? That was really,
right.
Yeah, they're starting to come in. So send those in, you guys, because we really want to see your tiaras. So yes,
You're
Melanie.
using that matte teal AB.
Matte teal AB.
Mm-hmm. BGL2-2008.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of, these are, they're not too long, so I still think it has kind of that movement that we're looking for in a long necklace like this. So you can, see, I can put them a little closer together, a little further apart. I think it looks great. Now, I want to talk a little bit, I want to move us into the closing portion. I want you to keep stringing.
Okay.
And I want, we actually close ours two different ways.
What?
You close yours with a single crimp, and I
sometimes
actually
I do a double.
A double,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I wanted to show. I'm gonna cut this guy off real quick. Keep that there, and I'm gonna move this forward so Brandon, you can see me crimp on a surface that's fairly
Neutral.
So I'm gonna scooch that up. And so, and I want to talk a little bit about the joys of soft flex here for a moment. Those of you who know my stringing style, I really like just a simple necklace strung on soft flex. I love the durability of the soft flex, all of that good stuff. But I wanted to show, I'm going to just string just really quickly so you guys can see how I might close this off. It's not going to be a masterpiece of design, but it is just going to be a little sampler so you guys can see this. We're going to string just a bunch of 6 mils on here, and we're just going to pretend that this is our little necklace. One of the ways that I choose which stringing material as I'm sliding these guys on, you also want to make sure that whatever holes that you have in your beads, that they slide on fairly easily, that the bead isn't tight around the stringing material. If you have beads that have super small holes, as you pull them on the soft flex, the surface of the soft flex is going to start getting maybe a little bit compromised. So you just want to make sure that all of your beads fit on pretty nicely and slidey, but not so much that you've got so much room around that these beads are just going to kind of, you know, wobble around on your thread. Let me add just a couple more here. These 6 mils look great all together.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm doing, Emily? I'm playing with fire because
you don't have a something on the end of that?
Don't. What am
top
I?
top
drawer.
Use a flip.
I'm
Use a
going
clamper.
to use. I could. There they are. I'm going to use one of these guys because you know, you guys all know.
Bead's natural habitat.
Is the floor. So there it is. There we go. Now I can kind of slide this around. So what I'm going to do is, here's our crimp. So I'm going to grab these guys. And I'm just going to use any old color that I like. We happen to have the silver right here, so I'm going to use these. Now this is our 2x2 crimp. And we've got our 3 millimeter, 2x2 meaning it's a 2 millimeter in diameter by 2 millimeters in length. And it's a heavy wall crimp that has, well, a nice heavy wall to it. And we're going to be using our Xuron crimper, But you can see with that wall, if the wall itself isn't heavy, when you use the crimping plier, the crimp isn't going to hold up. It's just going to kind of come open. So make sure that the crimps that you use have a nice heavy wall to them, like these guys. Okay. So the way that I start is I want to make sure that I need to end with a bead in between that has a hole that's large enough so that 2 strands of soft flex can go through. And so I'm going to just double check, and indeed 2 strands go through. Okay. So I'm going to start by putting on a tube, crimp tube. I'm going to come over here, bead. I'm going to put on my bead. I'm going to put on 1 more crimp, like so. Then I'm going to take this guy off, and let's pretend again that this is our real long necklace. And I'm going to come in and slide this other end back through everything. Okay. Now you need to be real careful at this point that when you pull everything tight, that you're not pulling it too tight, right? Because, like Emily said, we want a lot of drape to this piece. Hey, will you hand me the crimper?
Sure.
We want a lot of drape and a lot of movement. With a little round circle like this, it's even easier to make this tight. But as you close things up, you're going to have a little bit of space. And you want that little bit of space anyway, because your crimp cover also needs somewhere to sit. So I'm going to come in. We've got a lot of videos. We have a lot of skill builders that talk about how to use this crimping plier. But see how I'm holding this like this so everything is nice and tight? Not overly so, but I'm going to come in and I'm going to crimp 1, and then what I do is I go right next door and I do the same action, crimp and crimp. And if you can see, let me make sure that's crimped nicely. As you can see with each of these little crimps that I've done, there's soft flex running up one side of the crimp and then on the other side, both under those little crimps, and there's a little valley there in the middle. So now, once I've done one side and then the other, I'm going to come in with my crimp plier and again put it in the little, got to get it into position so I can see it here. Turn it on its side and go ahead and crimp it again to fold it. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Fold it up. Whoops, that's the wrong little opening. There we go. And then I come in and I close it with the tip of my crimping plier just to give it a little hug to make sure that everything is nice and tight and even. So you can see there's my folded up crimp on that side, my folded up crimp on that side. I've got a little bit of movement here, which is good. Now I'm just going to come in, and before I put on my crimp covers, I'm going to get rid of this extra thread. Now what I can do, you see I came back through this bead over here and I didn't over here. It's really up to you how you want to do this. Emily, do you cut things right up against the crimp?
No.
Or do you don't?
Not typically.
Right.
I try to go under a bead.
A bead.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to want to just crimp it.
I understand
right,
that. I don't want
it.
anything poking out or
Okay,
anything.
yeah.
But I also find that a little bit like when I bury
You
a
could do
thread
it
in
here.
seed beads, that
Mm-hmm.
if I've got it under and then remove the extra,
Mm-hmm.
rather than trying to push something under when
Underneath,
it's already cut,
yeah.
then I usually am much luckier at it, and it seems to be much more permanent.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing worse than something sticking you in the back of the neck all day long.
Right, being scratchy.
Eesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'll go ahead and I'll put my crimp cover on. And I'll just cover that right up with the crimp cover. Sorry, these are a little far away from my eyes, you guys. I'm going to pull it up to me for just a second so I can see where I'm putting this crimp cover, because it's a little far away out of my field of vision. Bear with me here just a second. And we'll bring that in. And then the crimp, see how it nestles right in there? I'm just going to come in and I'm going to close it up. Just like so. And you want to be real careful not to dent this cover. But it's nice and tight on there. And see, I still have a little bit of space here that my crimp cover is going to be able to nestle in there. The crimp cover does tighten things up. When your necklace is a little bit longer, it's not going to be, you know, you've got a little more room there with this tiny little piece that I've made. Sorry, again, I'm going to have to hold it up to my eyes, you guys. I can't see. I can't see a thing here. That's the trouble when your eyes start to age. I know you guys are with me on this.
Such a pain in the neck.
Right, and a light. I need, give me some light.
I know.
Right? How's that guy coming over there, Em?
Good.
I'm struggling to get this crimp cover on, you
Well,
guys,
that's
so
good.
bear
Take your
with me.
time.
There we go. It's on. Well, it was on. Now it's off. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. So, there we go. Now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm just closing it with the chain nose pliers because I have the chain nose pliers in my hand. And I don't want this crimp cover to come off. There we go. Oh, this is a little askew.
I really like this painted desert colors. It's growing on me more and more.
More
every
and
minute.
more. Yeah, I really like, you know, we added kind of that coral tone right at the last second.
Yep.
So I think it really looks good. This is the worst crimp cover job I've ever done.
In your entire life?
That I've ever done in my entire life. So I'm just going to show you guys what I would do to take it off because I can't bear it
No.
for 1 second.
It's just
I'm going to carefully get my
unbearable.
wire cutter. I'm just going to cut it away. There we go. And I'm going to give it
just
round
like
two.
starting over.
Yeah, it's really okay. If at first you don't succeed with your crimp cover,
Go again.
try again. Let me get one more. It's just beading, you guys. It's okay. There's no crying over miscrimped cover. Right? There's no shame in a poorly closed crimp cover. You just take it off and you
Go
give it
again.
one more go. Gosh, what's the matter with my hands today? Goodness gracious. Let me just take a moment. So let's take a look, Emily, while I'm fiddling around
Sure.
with this.
Let's
Why
see how
don't you
we're
bring
coming
your
along.
piece, to the fore, so I can get this cover on here.
Look how nice this is looking.
Wow.
I'm really excited actually about it. I really love it. I think the amethyst and the carnelian just pop.
And, you know, I'll be honest, I don't know if I would have chosen that chocolate. And I think the chocolate background
Is awesome with this.
pulls this sucker right together.
And that they're matte.
Yeah,
as well.
the matte really makes a difference. And I'm glad you brought that up because, you guys, can you see, this is a faceted rondelle. That one's shiny. This is a shiny round. That's a shiny round. That's the matte coin.
Oh,
And
those
the matte, the
porcelain
matte seed
beads are
bead.
killing me.
Really, the variation of color
Yeah.
and texture in this is great.
Yeah.
All right, now I finally got this crimp cover on. Holy cow. Do you guys ever struggle like that? Do you guys ever struggle in front of, hundreds of people watching you worldwide putting on a crimp cover with your secret shame of not being able to put the crimp cover on? Well, it's all right. You guys are with me.
It's only beads, Kate.
It's
Come
only
on.
beads. You guys are cheering me on. You know, when we do, when we film or we do, like Beads, Baubles, and Jewels, or if I do a video, that's always like a take 3 or a take 4. But with Facebook Live, there's only one take. But there it is, so you guys can see. These are both on there. And so having that little extra crimp tube on both sides really makes it super, super strong. And these crimp tubes just kind of blend on in. We've got the crimp covers that have a lot of different, come in different metals, so you can match them to blend into your piece. But with Emily's piece that she did here, you just went under a single crimp tube, right?
I did, and I kind of hid it, air quotes around that,
Next to that pearl.
because the pearl seemed to be the closest bead in
shine,
in color and temperature,
in size.
yeah, all
Yeah.
those things to a crimp bead, and then I just slipped a little crimp bead cover right over it, and
so essentially what you
went to
did,
town.
it's like this piece here, you just use that single crimp And then just like so and like so.
Yep.
So however you guys want to do it, you know, sometimes if you're feeling like, well, I need just a little extra crimping in my life, you can come in and do two of them. I'm going to put a little seed bead extra here. Or you can just do a single. I think they would both work. But let me add this one in. And again, you just slide this in. And you really want to mind the how tight you're pulling this. There we go.
Yep, a little breathing room, a little air, as Janice likes to say.
A little air. And again, we want our soft flex not to cross under that crimp. And the thing about this is the perils of crimping it this way is you want to make sure that you don't crimp and break a seed bead.
Yes, you do have to be a little bit cautious. But
especially when you're crimping right up next to that seed bead.
Even if you were to break one seed bead out of this,
it's not the end of the world.
It wouldn't be the end of the world.
But there's that there. And then I go ahead and we close it up. And we give it, what I like to say, a little hug. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut these away. And one of the things I want to show you guys when you're crimping this, one of the ways I know that it's closed, and it might be easier for you to see on this side, so I'm going to cut it and show you. You can take a look down the side. I'm going to try and pull it out here. It's nothing that I would do normally, but if I pull the crimp tube, and I take a look at the front of it, can you see how there's no little open tunnel there, right? That everything is closed.
It's all touching the internal walls of it are all touching.
Everything is touching. If you look down the side of your seed bead and you see a little tunnel, that tunnel means that probably it's not crimped as completely exactly as you want it. So you would go back in and hug that crimp tube one more time on the sides, and then take a look down to see if those little tunnels are closed.
I always think of that interior of the crimp as something that I want to get rid of, but it really only works best with a seamless tube crimp.
Correct.
And I'm kind of shocked when I go to Joann's or I go to Michael's, and I always go through the jewelry department. Even though if I'm not really there shopping for that, but I always go and look, and some of the crimp tubes
sad substandard
are really bad.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Examine the crimp beads. If you have to take a magnifying glass with you, do it.
Yeah.
Because if they look like they're made out of tin foil and they're just so
not gonna
thin,
be good. Yeah.
they're not. You're never going to get them closed up.
And we sell a really nice multi-pack of the 2x2s in all the different flavors.
Yeah, and you've got every color you want right there.
Yeah. So can you see here, I've put the crimp tube around it and underneath, and I'll just come in, or the crimp cover rather, and I'll just come in and make those little edges close. And then I press on the very top. Are you throwing seed beads at me?
I threw 3 at you, yes.
Nice.
I found the other 2.
There we go. And I just go at the very top to just kind of detail that seam, and now it's closed. Oh, that's the best one I've done all day. So there's that single. So you can go 2 crimps or a single crimp to close this. Just depends on your preference. Okay. Emily, you are such a fast beater. That looks amazing.
Well, this might be enough for once around, or once over your head.
That looks really nice.
What do you think?
Let's Brian, let's go back to the front view because we're going to wrap this up anyway, and we'll do some measuring and stuff.
We had a
Questions?
question about Emily's tube, crochet tube.
Oh yeah,
crochet.
your
One
Bead
we're
crochet
gonna
that I
do.
have on?
crochet. Yeah,
Tube crochet.
I think
We
we're
are
doing
working
that
on it.
in the. Are we doing it at the end of the year? Or in the new year?
In December.
December we're doing it. I thought we were doing netting in December.
We
I
are
don't know.
doing both.
We are.
Well, I don't consider crochet part of seed bead school exactly.
Oh,
Even though it uses seed beads,
Right.
it's sort of a
little bit of a
standalone.
different, yeah. Well, I'm excited.
So I know.
That piece is so.
I just finished this one this weekend.
And you guys are gonna love. We've got some Emily and Janice have
delicious.
bought some new beads, especially for your bead crochet, and we're working on getting those up. So those will be debuted.
And I'm working on a new
few
sample
weeks.
for you too.
Yeah, it's going to look really nice.
Yeah.
So good. So let's take a look at then measuring for this guy. Let's put another closure on the end, so it doesn't, as I like to say, all end in tears. You know, when I
doesn't escape.
Right, it doesn't escape. When I had my bead store, you know, and the staff, one of the staff, or if I or something, or if a customer, if they weren't feeling it or whatever, and I would say, well, go weep over near the seed beads. So, you know, if we drop this necklace of seed beads, I would have to go to where we store our seed beads and weep gently by the seed bead wall. It's kind of a, when you need to let it out, go to the seed beads. So this is a good, I think this looks great as a single, and it does pull around. Let's take a look at this length. It's totally caught on my earrings. What length is
You know,
this?
this actually, with this length, I'd almost be tempted to put a clasp on it so that we could put a pendant on it later. But we could put a pendant on this. It would be real pretty.
It would be really nice. You could also dangle like a vintage find off of it. So this is 34 inches about, right? So we're getting there.
Yeah.
But it's a great, if I wanted this to be my multiple wrap, if I were going for the 42, then we'd be almost home.
And
That's
I made a little mix.
Yeah, so
Little
you have
bead
your
soup.
little mix there, and you also had your little volcano that you were stringing on.
Yeah.
And that went really quickly. I also wanted to mention, when you're working with soft flex, you guys, or any kind of wire-coated beading material, sometimes the end can get a little frayed, a little fuzzy. And especially with these small hold seed beads, so if I'm here and I'm just trying to get it on there and I can feel the edges of that soft flex kind of bump up against the bead, then it's time to give yourself just a little trim, and that'll make things a lot easier.
Touching up the bangs.
That's right. Like when I cut my bangs at home in the mirror, and then you'll see as my hair gets longer, my bangs get more wonky, because, and you know, you lie to your hairdresser. You're like,
I didn't trim them, honest to God.
I didn't, no.
My fingers, all my fingers
didn't.
crossed behind my
No,
neck. I
and
didn't
my
do it.
bangs are like this.
Did you trim your bangs?
Right? No. My mom, when I was little, she literally used to put a bowl on my head and cut my bangs underneath.
When my
I've
mom
had
used
this
to
I've
trim
had
my-
this haircut since I was 3.
When my mom used to trim our hair, the bangs would get shorter and shorter and
Yeah.
shorter because she was trying to even it out. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And there was always a
And
point
then-
where you had bangs
and then
up
you have
there.
like this, yeah. Or, you know, or if I'm
Thanks,
doing,
Ma.
if I'm thinking a lot and I do a lot of this, then I get this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good look. It's a nice look. Anyway, so I know that you guys can relate, cutting your own like this. Or maybe I'm the only one, I don't know. Well, these look fantastic.
I
And
think this is really pretty.
they really look, you know, all of these long pieces like this together. And, you know, we're coming into, whoops, I'm caught. There we go. Coming into October now, it is time for holiday pieces.
It is really time to
So-
start making stuff for Christmas, for sure.
These are great. And what you can do, you can see from this one that Emily made, we have a little bit of bead soup left. So think of this kind of as your sourdough starter, right?
Right.
You
You
just
could add
keep
some.
adding some, you know, following the
mother.
recipe. Yes, add this, and then now string another one, then add a few, string another one. So it's kind of,
And
yes, your
You could
never-ending
definitely
sourdough.
you could definitely make a couple of necklaces out of this one mix. And you know, I have 2 sisters. Hi guys. Hi Carol. Hi Barbara. I like to make necklaces and jewelry for them for the holidays.
Yes.
And I often give them the same thing,
Yeah, I do that a lot too.
somewhat different.
Just a different color.
You know,
whatever.
sometimes a little shorter,
Yeah.
a little longer for one or the other. And I could make 2 necklaces of this and hand each one of them one, and they would say thanks,
And then you're done.
and off they would go.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're like, what about my
Where's
jewelry?
mine?
Where's
Yeah.
mine?
Well, then they send me things
yeah,
in the mail.
that's
So
always good. See, I could also wear it like this.
yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, one of the scarf videos where they tie the scarf like 12 times and you're like, wait, what are you doing? But this kind of works.
It's like folding napkins.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's good times.
It is. It's totally
Well,
good
this
times.
is a great project, Emily.
I really enjoy
was
this. This
pretty
again,
stoked.
it brings me a little bit of peace, and it's been a little turbulent time this last few weeks.
Yeah.
With all the things and
Things
in the
are
world.
going on. But it's a good zen, kind of a
Yeah,
zen
very
beading
much
moment.
so.
Well, you've really converted me to just using a single seed bead as a background. I will say.
Yeah.
I have.
You know what I wanted
bought
to say?
into it.
I wanted to say about this, and I've seen this on another jewelry blog, which I think we could do it with this as well. The other jeweler that I saw was making patterns of different colored beads, and they were using the Morse code to spell out words.
Oh, how fun! Yeah.
And I thought, really what you could do is this
A
could
dot
be
and a
one
dash,
letter,
yeah.
and then another letter.
Oh, how fun!
And then another letter. So you could actually spell things out.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And have sort of a secret message
Yeah.
that you give to someone.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the quality of intentions of thoughts that you put into
Yeah.
your jewelry when you give it to someone, when you are making something for somebody who's had a tough time or celebrating something wonderful, and you're putting some intentions into that.
Yeah, it's
And
always a nice
so it's
way.
kind of a fun way. It'd be a fun way to hide that little secret
Little
in
message.
there.
I wonder what this says in Morse code. I
I
don't
don't know.
know. This is the most beautiful necklace I have ever seen.
Of course, the book I'm reading right now has
Right.
Morse code in it too, so
Right.
I got it on the brain,
You're on a
I
roll.
guess.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Ooh.
This was great. I can't wait to see this one. We'll have this one finished and up for you guys
Momentarily.
to take a look at. Yes, after we sign off. But we've got a couple of I'm looking for it. We've got a fun giveaway today.
Did you give it to me or you
It's
have it?
I see it over there.
Oh,
see it.
I know, but the thing.
I've got them right here.
Do you? Okay.
I got it.
The paperwork.
I got it. The paperwork. So I did a little bit of bead buying yesterday, some replenishing. It was really exciting. And
I wish I could have gone with you.
went and I got, I want to hold them in my hands.
I was going to put him in a...
Oh, we can put them in a thing. That's a good idea. So I got some beads, especially for this giveaway, and I thought this would be, it doesn't really match the recipe that we've done at
Actually,
all.
I think it matches the au naturel. I
Yeah.
think you could put that in
Well,
there.
and it kind of has the elements in it. It's got a shaped bead, a couple of shaped beads. It has kind of a big 10 millimeter. It's got an 8 millimeter. And it's got a 6 millimeter in it. So it's a good jumping off point. So it's a little bag. Our giveaway today is a little bag of these semi-precious. Janice will know. Janice will see this. She has no idea about this. She's learning about this just as you guys are learning about it too. This is probably, I don't know, it's one of my favorite beads. I'm sure it's one of your favorites.
Give me that bead.
Give me that bead, right? It's this faceted carnelian.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
gorgeous.
delish. So it's a great little jumping off. You could make just a simple bracelet out of this with the seed beads in between, or you could use this as a starting point. For
It makes nice earrings. From
and
it.
yeah, you could. And the cool thing about these is none of these beads are available on our website. It's just for the giveaway.
So you just get those and then that's that.
You just get these, and you can kind of play around with different colors.
I'd probably make a bracelet
We
so I could
don't,
look at it all the time.
we don't carry any of these guys, so they're kind of
Okay.
a special. So we've got some of this aventurine, yellow aventurine, carnelian faceted moss agate. We've got a little labradorite rice bead, a little red aventurine rice bead there, and then some snowflake, not snowflake obsidian, but mahogany obsidian. So really pretty grouping. So that's the giveaway.
Cool.
So today is, what is today? Today is the 11th of October 2017, and it's about noon right now here on the West Coast. And this offer is good for 1 hour after the broadcast until about 1 o'clock Pacific time. And if you make an order of any size and you write pick of the patch, because it's kind of like a pumpkin patchy kind of a mix, we will add it in your shipping notes, and we'll add your autumn semi-precious mix to your order. We also have, I did this especially for today and tomorrow, we are having, for subscribers and your Facebook, and you saw it in your newsletter this morning, a stone sale. All stones are 20% off if you add stone 20 in your coupon box, and this sale is good through tomorrow night. That's Thursday night, the 12th at midnight. So if you want to stock up on those stones because you're ready to jump in for your holiday gift making, I think I know.
Do that
Yeah,
au
I
naturel.
think I know what I'm making actually for a couple of people.
Are you?
I think so.
Yeah.
These are really fun mixes.
The painted desert. I'm really excited
yeah, I'm
by.
kind of loving it.
This is just.
Yeah.
It's a little out of my comfort zone. I
But
admit.
But it really, it's
But
gorgeous.
it's so pretty.
I love it. Well, that about wraps it up. Any other final thoughts, Grace or Brandon? No, are we
we're
all
good?
good? Next week, you guys, we are going to be playing around with a similar technique. We're going to be pelleting again. We're going to be working with glass this time. And we're going to be working with one of Janice's favorites, which is memory wire. And Janice created the sample for the piece and then tossed it our way, and then we kind of took it and ran. So I'm really excited about doing some pelleting with the glass and working with the memory wire to kind of pattern and do some things. There's some metal beads in those, so
Oh, memory wire is such a fun material to
it'll
work
be
with.
really fun. And
Yeah.
we'll share some tips about stringing memory wire and cutting memory wire, so that'll be a really good one. And on Friday, this Friday, I've got a really fun free tip Friday for you guys that's also kind of based on what we did today, so stay tuned for that.
Cool.
Well, Emily, great job.
Good fun, huh?
It looks great.
I know, it's exciting.
Right.
It's exciting to see these come through.
Yeah, all finished and done.
Yep.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed yourselves with us. I'm going to take a swig of, well, I wish it were coffee. It's actually just water.
Me too.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you gotta drink some more water.
that's
these days.
right. Hydrate. You guys have a great creative week. I'll see you Friday for Free Tip
Thanks
Friday.
a lot.
And we'll see you next week on Facebook Live.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. We did it again.